Nigerians don't read. That's a sentence I've heard so many times. And while I think there's a little truth to it, the real question is what happened? How did we get to this point? One of the coolest things you would see while growing up is people reading in public. And I recently got to experience that again. And I felt two things, pride and sadness. Because how did we get here? Let's backtrack a little. Nigerians have always been readers. The pre-colonial Yoruba society had Ifa divination texts. The Hausa had the Sokoto Caliphate text, the Kano Chronicle, and Bono Empire manuscript, while the Igbo had oral literature and historical traditions. But generally, the pre-colonial Nigerian literature was written in Arabic and Ajami, and this alone tells you that Nigerian was never a people without intellectual culture. But then colonialism came and it had one specific idea, which was that reading meant reading their books in their language to serve colonial and missionary interests. You read to pass exam, you read to get a certificate, you read to become useful in someone else's project. And with this, the joy of reading got removed little by little. And in our current age, you can see how people don't consider reading as something that you can do for fun. It also goes back to the way we were being nurtured when it comes to reading. Back to the 80s and 90s, SAP, which is the Structural Adjustment Program, which was initiated in 1986, hit. The naira was devalued and among many things affected, books became a luxury. Importing books cost foreign exchange. Then publishers and academic focused operations like Onibonoje Publishers, Fourth Dimension Publishing, and Henneman Educational Books had to either downsize, fold, or restructure. Reading didn't die because Nigerians stopped wanting to read. It died because the infrastructure around it collapsed. And then mobile phone came into the picture. At first, it was just calls and texts. Then Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. The internet came in and filled those gaps. Then also people had to go into survival mode, which you can see in our present era. When your brain is calculating light bills, black tax, fuel prices, how to survive with your current salary for the whole month, how to meet your KPIs at work, there's little to nothing left for you to think about buying books and reading for leisure. Nigeria has been in crisis socially, economically, psychologically for so long that leisure has become something we are almost ashamed of. You want to sit down and read? Don't you have hustle? And to me, that's what prolonged scarcity does to imagination. And in recent times, I've also noticed what feels like a political agenda around literacy in Nigeria, or rather the lack of one, which on its own it's another conversation. But here's what I also know. Book clubs are multiplying across states. There are more Nigerian readers on social media than people realize. And more importantly, people are talking about reading. We just need to keep rebuilding the conditions for it, which is why I'm always happy to see thrift bookstores. I'm not saying the main bookstores are not doing the Lord's work, but with the thrift bookstore, there's something for everyone. So if you asked me if we stopped reading, I wouldn't say yes, exactly. We just got buried in a lot of things and people are on survival mode. A lot of people. Although the death of our attention span, it's part of our problem. That's our fault. But in general, I do hope people find their way back to reading because reading is important and necessary in the society we are currently living in. I genuinely believe that things won't be so bad if people had literacy skills and the habit of thinking. And this is just my own thoughts and research on things that I found interesting.